What's up, world? Welcome to another episode of Nerdy Dating. This is going to be a different episode. It's going to be a react episode or like a topic episode. We're going to do like kind of a book review. It's a book, How Not to Die Alone by Logan. This book I've been reading for probably the past 2 months, a little bit here and there, off and on with different stuff, in between different stuff. And I finally finished it. And I really want to talk about it on this episode of Nerdy Dating because some of the stuff that we had talked about on certain episodes or past episodes is actually all in this book. It's quite, not hilarious or funny, but it's just kind of funny how like the stuff we were talking about is actually, you know, in a book that is publicized and I'm not sure it's a New York bestseller. I don't think it's on that list, but it's a pretty dang good book by Logan Yuri. And we're gonna talk about some key things that I took out of this book that I think that if you're looking to get back into the dating world or looking to better your relationship and learn more about how you date and look at more at how you approach dating, this book is a good book to pretty much break that down and help you guide your way through the world of modern dating. And one of the first things that popped out to me, one of her chapters, is your dating's blind spots. To me, she has three things. I'm talking about my thing. There's three things. There's the romanticizer, the maximizer, and the hesitator. So the romanticizer is somebody who believes that it will happen when it happens. They don't do anything. They pretty much just like, well, if I'm meant to find somebody, I'm meant to find somebody. It'll be that way because love is love kind of thing. The maximizer is somebody who, like, will make sure they look at all their options, make sure they cross their T's and dot their I's and make sure everything's in place before they make the move. And then you have the hesitator who's like, well, I'm gonna wait until I hit this certain goal to date. I'll make sure I hit, 100 grand a year before I date, or I get the new car, the new house, the new apartment, there's always something new that needs to be achieved before they get themselves out into the dating market. Oh, try to get this new job or get this new promotion and then I'll start dating versus taking action now. And pretty much this chapter about your relationship blind side or is blind spots pretty much talks about like just take action. Like the maximizer, why you're like, which I'm considered a maximizer. I like to make sure my T's are crossed, my I's are dotted before I make the decision to finally date somebody. And probably because after years of experience, I'm a rusher. I rush into dating, so I was like, make sure everything's right. But she goes to a guy who, instead of saying like, you know what, this relationship's not for me, I'm gonna keep holding out because she wanted to get engaged and he didn't want to get engaged. So he kept holding out until he finally just said like, I can't keep pushing this off any longer. I don't think it's a good relationship fit. I don't think it's a good time to get engaged. I don't think it's the right relationship, and they end up breaking up and he ended up finding somebody who he felt like was a better connection for him than the person he was with. And then you have the romanticizer who's like, well, if I just don't get on the dating apps or I don't do this, I'll meet somebody in the wild, but they're not putting themselves out there how they ever meet somebody, so they have to put themselves out there to order to meet somebody, whether that's on the dating apps, whether that's going to events, going to places where people are going to be about, social clubs, social groups, to meet somebody. They have to put themselves out there. And the hesitator, there's never going to be a perfect time. Start dating now. Don't look at like, well, this person's not going to accept me until I hit. No. The person that you're going to match with the most or match with the best doesn't care about your income, doesn't care about who you are. They're looking to date you as the person, not you because you have 3 bedrooms, a nice house on the hill, versus the 1-bedroom apartment. Like, they don't care about that. They'll meet you and want to be with you regardless of what your status or what goal you're trying to achieve. So that was one of the big things that I took out of the first part. And then it started talking about like the dating scene and dating environment, how to use dating apps as a tool, how to not look for a prom date, but look for an actual life partner. And that's another thing that I took out of this book was, instead of when people are like, oh, I'm just dating a certain type of guy, are you dating prom dates, as Logan called them, or life partners? Are you dating somebody who feels good in the moment? Are you dating somebody who you can spend the next 30 to 50 years with, regardless of marriage or not? Are you looking for that kind of connection, or are you just looking for somebody to fill your momentary needs? Like, those things right there are something that I was reading. I was like, that is a very interesting concept. the prom date versus the life partner. What are you dating for? What are your dating goals? And she asked you about that. What are you looking for? Are you looking for that prom date? If that's the case, that's fine. Go have fun. She's not telling you not to go out and have fun and date around. But don't complain when you're saying like, well, the person I'm meeting is not meeting the goals that I'm looking for. They don't want to have a family. Well, did you ask them they want to have a family? They said, no, I don't want to have kids. Then why are you hanging around with? You're not going to change their mind. They're not going to change their mind. So why are you hanging around? Don't date the prom date. Look for a life partner. So their goals and dreams or future aspirations don't at least align with yours in a sense. Why are you, playing around if that's what you're looking for? That's another thing she brings up in the book. And then types of dates and places. So a lot of people complain about, well, I don't want to get on the social media apps. I don't want to do the dating apps. One, use the dating apps as a tool. Don't be like it's the only way. It's a tool. But once you get that date, whether you meet them via dating apps, and they talk about meeting people in person, so like via social clubs, social groups, stuff of that nature. So let's say you go to a book club and there's majority people, a lot of people there. So this book club is not a big group. It's probably about 10 people. Get to meet people there, mingle with people, then friends of friends, and so on and so forth. So you can breach out of your dating circle or your social circle and meet people that way too by going to book clubs. But once you get that date secure, she's like, don't make a date a job interview. Don't make it like a meeting. Don't go to a place where you feel like you got to go rush your time. Don't make a date at noon on a Tuesday afternoon when you have to go back to work here in the next hour. Pick a date a time where you can relax. You can be you. You don't have to, I gotta be so by 3 p.m. I gotta be so by this time. And somebody offer a date at that time because they feel like it's the best thing for you. You can say no, Thursday afternoon doesn't work for me, but I can do Saturday afternoon. I can do Sunday evening. Just Saturday, this time might not work because I have things to do. I have priorities. She said, do not put yourself in a situation where you feel like you have to rush to get out the date. And as far as job interviews, feelings, don't ask questions about work. Don't ask questions about things you hear about the job. Like, ask somebody questions of, it's like, what are you interested in? Ask them questions like hypotheticals or things of that nature. Things that will get people to open up and maybe learn a little bit about them. I think she did this, and not Georgina from the You Up podcast, where they ask questions like, would you date your cousin, or would you and never date your cousin, but everybody thinks you date your cousin? Something like that along those lines. Like, would you date your cousin and nobody knows, or would you date your cousin if you never date your cousin but everybody thinks you date your cousin? Or would you kiss your cousin and nobody knows, or have you kissed your cousin, or you want everybody to believe that you kissed your cousin? Something like those lines where like, either way, you're in a crappy situation, but what are your answers going to be? And she's like, it's just kind of spark a fire and get people talking about this stuff, and we're like, wait a minute, I would never do that, or this is crazy. To add to that, one of the things that I've done before, and this doesn't matter who you are, you always get people talking. I was like, if Drake the rapper walked into a room, and let's go with Dwayne Johnson walk into the room together. So Drake the rapper and Dwayne The Rock Johnson walk into the room together. Which guys will get the most numbers? You don't know who they are. You don't know, dropping books, sorry. You don't know who they are. You don't know anything about them. They just, blank person walks in, no famous background. They just look like them. Who's getting the most numbers by the end of the night? And you can do this with a bunch of girls, you can do a bunch of dudes, and mingle a group of people just to see, who would think will win. Like, who would, like, oh yeah, I think The Rock might get more numbers. Or no, that dude, The Rock might seem kind of like standoffish. Drake might get more numbers. It's just to see what kind of game that like people will think like, oh no, I think that person will get bit more numbers than this person, and so forth and so on. I think it's a fun game, and I actually used it a few times with a group of people and got the whole conversation going, and it's always interesting to hear. And then you can swap out people like Scarlett Johansson and Beyonce, who will get the most numbers by the end of the night. Like, it's just those kind of things you can do to open up a conversation. So even on a date, you can like, okay, question time, like just funny questions that open up somebody that's not so serious about like, what do you like to do on the weekend? Well, anytime you ask somebody that question, well, I don't know. pick a scenario. All right, you got $1 million and you have a 2-day weekend to spend it. You can't save the money after the weekend's over. You can't invest in anything. What are you gonna do? Hear me. Let's see what you got. Let's go for it. Like that kind of question. Just to hear what people like to do, and that way you can ask them what they like to do without actually asking them, what do you like to do? Another cool thing that Logan likes to do is she also has like little guides here and little things you can fill out in the book where like she's asked a question and you can fill out what your thoughts are, how you feel about certain things, how to go about one. Like one of my favorite spots of the book, she asks, what do your significant others like to you? When there's a chapter about breakups and about like whether or not it's time to end it, whether it's trying to fix the relationship or not, she asked somebody in this book, what article of clothing is your significant other to you? And when I read this, I was like, my article of clothing would be like a nice warm jacket. My favorite jacket you put on. It makes you feel good, makes you feel warm, comfortable, and you know it's not always hovering over you, but it's there. And when it's chilly out, when it's a nice day, you want to look nice, your jacket's there to got you. Like that's what like my thought like a significant other is. Like it's a nice warm jacket that you got on. It's your favorite jacket. Like, oh man, like this jacket makes you feel good, makes you feel like just appreciative. But I can take my jacket off and it's not like it's hovering over me. It's not smothering me. Like I can still do the things I want to do and still move around, but when I put the jacket on, I can still move and still do things I want to do as well and have fun. Like it's just a nice jacket, like a really great, warm, fancy jacket. That's what my idea of a significant other is when I read that chapter. But then like one of the person in the book said their significant other was a torn sweatshirt that they wouldn't want to wear outside. They only wear inside, and then like it's just dirty, never washed, and just don't want to wear it. And I'm like, that's you said about your significant other, that's messed up. But like other people talk about like these nice warm socks, favorite pair of jeans, whatever the case would be. The significant other is it's the wardrobe test she asked, and she's like, if your significant other is something that's dark, dingy, and you don't wear it out or don't want to do anything, like why you have that significant other? Like maybe it's time for you to end the relationship. And what happened was the person in the book actually got proposed to, and she didn't want to be proposed. She was crying because she didn't want to propose to him. She wanted to say yes, and she wanted to end it. And she ended up ending in the relationship. But she talks about like when to define a relationship. Are you sliding or are you actually moving a relationship? So sliding is like, oh, we just got our apartment together because it's financially stable, but not because we actually want to move in with each other. And the book talks about those kind of things in relationships. And they talk about intentional loving and talks about when you consciously choosing your partner and relationship check-ins, like how we feeling by each other, or are we working towards something better, where we're at in our relationship. She brings that stuff up and like things that you should talk about as healthy, sometimes are hard to discuss, but are healthy to have this conversation with significant others, so you know where they are in the relationship and you know where you are in the relationship. And there's a point where she felt like her I believe fiance, maybe husband now, where they were going to Rocky Point. She moved across the country, felt like she didn't have a community or anything like that, and he felt like he was unappreciative because she never asked about his work. And when she started asking about his work and started opening up to him more, and he started opening up to her more, and they pretty much fixed a relationship, and he helped her with a community and get a community involved. Like, it's some really good stuff in this book that I believe definitely is worth looking into, worth reading over, worth taking advice out of. And every chapter she has, almost every page actually, has like articles where she took information from. So you want to go read those articles, you can. Look, to me, it's a little bit too much because every page definitely had this article from this scientist from this study, or this article from this person from this study on page 2, and this page 4. And it's like every page had a study in here that was from somebody else from another part of the country, from another university, who tests about relationship psychology, human connections, human psychology, how people work with each other. She mentioned almost every study is in here and how people react. So it's a very good book. I definitely suggest this as a read for somebody who wants to get into modern dating, who's looking into modern dating. how to navigate through modern dating. Definitely a book that is worth the read. I recommend this one 10 out of 10. My favorite parts, I would say, is definitely the sections about like online dating, and then how to meet people in person, and then even about, you know, when the relationship continues further, when you decide to actually stay in a relationship and choose this person and define the relationship and not slide in the relationship and make conscious efforts like, hey, this is where I'm at right now. You know, I really appreciate you, but I'm not ready to move in yet. You know, check back in with me. Let's talk about, let's have this conversation next, 4 months from now, 6 months from now. She talks about like the year mark, the 2-year mark, 5 years, so on and so forth. Like, she brings up things in this book that, to me, I think everybody should read over. Everybody should read over this book. It's worth it. I'm happy I purchased it. And I'll probably go back over it a few times as well. Yeah, 100%. If you read this book, what did you think? Please put in the comment section below. If you have any questions you want to ask me, feel free to ask. I don't mind talking about the book on another episode if you like this kind of episode. Other than that, thank you guys for watching the episode of Nerdy Dating. Also, you have a question, you can send it to alizakkanerdydating@gmail.com. alizakkanerdydating@gmail.com. Now I'll read it on the show, answer your question. But other than that, thank you guys for watching the episode of Nerdy Dating, and keep being awesome. Thank you for watching this episode of Nerdy Dating. I really appreciate it. If there's another episode you want to watch, you can look at it right there. If you want to subscribe to the page and watch more content, it's down here. Also, you have a question about dating, you want to put it in the comment section, go ahead and do it. Or you can send me your dating question to my email of alizakkanerdydating@gmail.com. That's alizakkanerdydating@gmail.com. And I will answer your question on the next episode of Nerdy Dating. Thank you so much for watching the show. I appreciate you, and keep being awesome.